Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Atlanta BrickCon, and today we're taking a look at the Creatures of the Enchanted Forest collaborative layout here. I've got one of the builders with me, so if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what this layout is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I'm Atticus Bricks. So I had this idea last summer to build a fantasy landscape with this cottage and magic and everything, and then it kind of sprawled into this collaboration. So the stories that I wanted to work into here are that we have a lonely wizard who's crafting a love potion for the beautiful fairy queen who he loves. So in the background you'll also see we have a centaur courting a beautiful mermaid, and then over in this corner we have a gnome who is in love with a woodland nymph. So I call this build Love in the Enchanted Forest because it's kind of that fairy tale feeling of, you know, different love stories and magic kind of bringing different people together. This was the first time that I incorporated lighting into a mock. So I felt that I really kind of pushed the limits of what I usually do. And I wanted it to overall have this natural, lush, you know, full lived-in landscape. My favorite details are probably this whole section in front where we have the wizard's outdoor magic station. So I'm really proud that it kind of spread into this collaboration with my friends who also built their own takes on this idea.
Yeah, the whole layout is just very whimsical, very colorful. And speaking of colors, take us through some of these trees and the landscaping around here, because that's really what stands out when you look at this build.
Absolutely. So it's funny, the first tree color that I wanted in this build was actually the orange and yellows of the fall birch trees, and then I decided to have some filler with the olive green. And to kind of contrast with the olive green, I felt that the lavender really worked. So I wanted just kind of one big central tree that had this sort of like gray, you know, aged bark to it, and then all of these lavenders kind of give it that magical effect. I thought that they looked really nice with the turquoise color of the roofs. And then, you know, just for filler, I was like, what other colors can I put in here? We have the sort of dark blue tree up front, and then we have this tree, which actually was designed by my fiance, girlfriend at the time. I told her to pick out some colors, and I worked that into a build. So that kind of played into the romance of it all. I do want to show this one tree, which I'll kind of get out here. So this tree is actually my first time attempting the sort of, I call it a wrapped tree, where you take different like bars and you can actually see some pitchforks and an oar, and then you wrap it around to make the tree bark. And then I wanted to have this combination of the dark blue, the bright green, the turquoise, and then the bright pink flowers. I liked this tree, but I actually expanded on that idea with my newest build for the Enchanted Forest, which is called A Visit to Shroom Swine Cottage. This is my favorite tree that I built using that same color scheme, and then I just kind of expanded on the idea.
Perfect. Well, this is excellent work, so thanks for kicking it off here. We'll start down here at this end as well, kind of make our way through a bunch of the other builds. So I think we've got the next builder with us right here. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you got.
Hello, I'm Ethan the Artisan on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and this is my part of the Enchanted collab. And of course, we got a turtle with a castle on top. I'm a big fan of building characters, so I'm like, I want to do something that's like, it makes me happy. And looking at this turtle, it just makes me so happy. And we got a castle on top. You can see we got a lot of foliage parts, and you know, since this is an enchanted forest, you know, we gotta have some bright colors. So of course we got a very bright turtle with a dark turquoise roof, and I'm pretty happy with how the castle part turned out. I love the little vines going down, and just the whole is kind of a sculpture that I've never really done before. With, you know, it's very curved, you know, has a lot of curvature, and a very bright colored roof as well. Looking at the foliage part, you can see we got bright foliage with just some really fun looking flowers, and those, shout out to that new CMF, the Mushroom Girl. That was like one of the main key parts. I love that mushroom piece, and you can see we got a bigger mushroom over there, and that magenta flower, that's like a cloth piece that I forget what it is, but it's like, it was a really cool part in my collection. I had to like literally search what is that part, and it's an actual Lego piece, which is super exciting. Moving on, we got some Lego trees. I'm actually really proud of these trees designs. I built the turtle. I was like, at very last minute, I was like, what's a tree design that looks cool, that I can do quick? and I have a bunch of string pieces, the Black Spider-Man string pieces. So I just attached like hundreds of them together and just wrapped it around, and I built a cool design using the 2x2 circular bricks with the some more curved parts to kind of give it a shape, and wrap those string pieces around. And I'm very happy with how those trees turned out, because it's a very natural look in my opinion. Well, you got some lavender leaves on top, and just some nice bright colors. You can see we also got another tree using chains. This is kind of a more normal looking tree, with dark brown leaves, and we got chains just wrapped around. And you can see it more in the foliage. We got some gold highlights, and one of my favorite parts, a couple of days ago, I went to the Lego store and got the that stem element, and I was like, I got a buttload of them, and I was like, it works for this. It's like little, it's a perfect road. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And of course, the thing that started the terrain was the freeform base. I'm very happy with how that turned out. It's definitely my largest freeform base that I've done, so it was definitely a learning curve behind that as well. And also, one thing I'm really proud of is the water as well, the purple water. It uses those 1x1 bricks that have that slight sparkle in it. I was like, that's the coolest piece. I love that. So huge, I love that piece as well. And it's just overall super awesome.
How did the tower incorporate into the turtle build here? Is that kind of all one structure? How does that work?
So it's definitely, I started off with the turtle. It's like, what? I want to build a turtle. It's like, so I built a turtle, and it's like, what? This could work with this collab. So I added a castle on top, and it's definitely, it can come apart in two pieces, but it's all one section. So I'm sure I could, I'm not going to do it, but I'm sure I could lift it up and it would all be one piece, which is something that I'm not known for building the sturdiest builds, but this thing is actually pretty sturdy, which I'm very proud of. I'm always trying to learn something new with every build that I build. So I'm very proud with how that turned out.
Excellent work. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next part of the Enchanted Forest then.
How's it going, dudes? My name is Cool Guy Dom. This is my contribution to the Enchanted Forest. I bring to you the Mushroom Village, which was heavily, almost primarily inspired by the Series 25 Mushroom Sprite minifigure, and I just wanted to be like, I need to build a Mushroom Village for this minifigure for the Enchanted Forest, and this is what I brought to the show. I built most of it in the last 4 weeks. Back in January, I had COVID, so I was like, I'm going to start just building the foundation. Didn't touch it for a while. And then the last few weeks, I was like, this is time to build some trees and some mushrooms and all that jazz. But I had a lot of fun building it with all the different textures and the foliage and different plant designs. It's very something out of my wheelhouse, and I think I'm getting a lot of praise from it, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I think I did a pretty good job. The mushroom houses, I did a few different styles of techniques for these structures, but I landed on like a half of a Lowell severe technique, and I think that turned out really, really well. But the entire base is freeformed. There's a little pond with a fisherman, but it's pretty small, so I don't think it's going to catch anything. But who knows? There is a crab hidden in there. But yeah, throughout I wanted to do a little Easter eggs, like there's a little picnic scene with I hope you guys can tell that is a charcuterie board, some teacups, a little lunchbox, and a bunch of chickens interrupting the picnic. And then throughout the scene, there's a bunch of butterflies, which are surprisingly hard to get a hold of. I want to definitely add a lot more butterflies, but super happy with how it turned out. Spent probably, the brown trees I'm really proud of. I probably spent close to 6 hours on each of them, just trying new different build techniques and getting the shaping right. But yeah, this is my mushroom village.
I love how you packed so much vegetation below the trees as well. Yes. So it really gives that kind of thick foliage feel to the whole build.
That was my biggest goal, was just getting this as like super dense foliage. My goal was to like, how much of the base can I hide with foliage? I want to have like a bunch of pretty color flowers. I want this to really pop in the convention center, and I think I did a pretty all right job.
Excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next, we check out one of the creatures in the Enchanted Forest here. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us what this is.
My name is Joey Kluznik, and this is the Weeping Wyvern. It's kind of a tree-dragon sort of blend, and this idea actually started with that name, kind of a wordplay, Weeping Wyvern. It's meant to look like a weeping willow, where it's got the branches hanging down from the wings, and I had to order a whole bunch of that new Dreams like Z-Blob rope piece to clip all those leaves onto, because I knew that would make it kind of hang down and dangle in a nice way like a weeping willow would. And kind of keeping on theme with that weeping willow name, I made him sad. He's got a sad expression. There's a tear drop coming down out of his eye because he's weeping, you know?
And what's the body of the creature here kind of built out of? What are some of the techniques there?
So once I'd figured out what I wanted to build, I was looking for pieces that I could use as like tree bark, and I picked up some of those Chewbacca construction figure shells, and I was like, this could work as tree bark. It's got kind of a wood texture to it. So I've got his torso piece kind of upside down for the stomach, and then some of the limbs have the other Chewbacca shells on the back of the arms and the back of the legs, and I think that works for the tree bark look.
Fantastic. Very intimidating creature. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got a beautiful looking house here.
Thank you so much. It's actually the Grand Oyster, which is a tavern/inn.
Okay. Very cool. So if you would just want to tell us your name and then take us through the details here.
Yes, my name is Carter Weinstock. I designed and built this. My favorite details are my minifigures. So you've got my chef in the front and center, which is a teapot. You have the bellhop and the front desk agent next to them, which are hermit crabs with mustaches. And then you've got the entertainment on the end, which is the nervous jester.
Very creative with the minifigs. That's super fun. Take us through some of the colors on the building itself and how you kind of decided on those.
Of course. So honestly, it all was inspired by the looping coaster. The elevator uses those cut tiles that I use for the walkway, and I just thought that was so beautiful, and I love the colors. So that's what inspired the window colors. I used the medium nougat, I believe is the proper color for that. I thought it was a lovely woody, but not brown color, but it still works as a nice contrast to the white and the red.
And then the little trees add some nice details as well, especially like kind of like the one that sticks out on the turret there.
Thank you so much. That was my buddy's idea. He told me that you need to have something round on it. So I put that in there and turned it into a flower pot because it is the Enchanted Forest after all.
Perfect. Thank you for your great work here. We'll keep moving down into the forest even further. What are these creatures we have here?
Yeah, so first thing I'm going to show is my spider, Sheldon, which kind of comes from an inside joke with my girl, Nicole, a.k.a. Girl Bricks a lot. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. But I just kind of enjoy building spiders. I'd like to revisit this at some point, but, you know, he's a fun purple spider named Sheldon. Maybe I'll build, like, a cave for him someday. But this build is actually one I did recently, which started as a tree study. I like building trees, so I wanted to use the old stump piece from the Wild West sets, and then I used the minifigure tree costume. And then I just started stacking bars and, you know, different brown pieces of different thicknesses, wrap it around like I like to do with the rubbery pieces, and then I created this kind of canopy of leaves, which are starting to turn to a fall color. Added some minifigures, you know, we have a centaur and a traveler who's just passing through, and then another tree I really like, which is just 2 flex tubes braided together, wrapped around. So this was just a simple landscape and tree study, but I really like it. It felt like it had the vibes and same style of the rest of the forest, so it's just another little piece of the forest. Real quick over here, I did just want to point out that this little mushroom leaf boat was built by master model builder Joey, and he wanted to add it on to my river. So that, you know, a really cute little thing that he built. Of course, we have the main Enchanted Forest, and then, again, this is my newest build, A Visit to Shroom's Wine Cottage, which I wanted to work in some unusual colors, specifically medium green. There's a lot of medium green in here, which is really hard to come by. But I thought it looked nice with the turquoise. There is a Duplo bush in the background. And then we have some clickets, which are some pretty nice old pieces. I also use clickets on the masonry there. And then, of course, I love Fabuland, so I had to have a Fabuland pig who's living here. And real quick, I'll just show you around the back, because this is actually one of those builds where I wanted to put detail onto the backside just as much as the front. So we have a little window where he is growing some flowers, and I just wanted the whole thing to feel really organic and lived in, and like it's kind of overgrown. So
Chimney is really nice too, and the way it's kind of got that subtle curve to it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted it to look almost like it had been sort of cobbled together, and it's starting to fall and lean to that side. You know, he's got some plants growing up alongside it. It's a little bit like topsy-turvy there, and even the roof, which not entirely intentionally is barely hanging on there because I use a a challenging technique using some tiles and one-by-one tiles with clips on them. So this is all kind of barely held together, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it just has the same feeling as the rest of the Enchanted Forest. So yeah, that's that.
Absolutely. Great work. Thank you. We've got a couple builds left down here then. So that takes us to our next builder. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Danny Johnson. Thanks for having us. Thanks for interviewing us. This is Stumped. It's a fallen tree. The idea is that it's a tree that fell over, but it hit an enchanted rock in the Enchanted Forest. So there's this purple element. The rock's got a magic property. It brought the tree back to life. So what could have been a sad situation became a chance for life and for growth. And it's become a well-traveled path for different creatures in the Enchanted Forest. So we have the steer rider, we have a squirrel, we have the different birds. Obviously the birds are not going to be walking on the tree, but they could. This was a challenge for me. I don't normally build trees at all. And so I spent a lot of time just trying to watch and learn, and there's a lot I still have to do. But what I like about it, the base is odd number of studs. It's always kind of tricky. It's a little delicate how it's built, so it's got the stud plate going here, here, and here. And I found out I only have one of these in my collection, so I'd use it sparingly. I thought, well, if the tree fell over, that's where the jagged part would be. I might be wrong. If there's a botanist watching, you can correct me. The core of the tree is snot bricks. I really like the new snot bricks just because it makes it really simple for building all around. And it uses different varieties of curved slopes. So these are the 2x2, 2-plate tall curved slopes. And then it uses these 1x2 brick tall slopes. My hand's a little shaky. I'm nervous. Here's one of the whips. I wanted to incorporate whips. Matt did a great job using those vines to wrap around, and you've already seen them. So this is my attempt to replicate it. I wanted there to be roots coming off, and those are also sprouting new life, like this really cool little flower with a pretty thick stem, so it's probably getting a lot of water. And then in the core, you can see a little bit of the tree core, so it's got that dark orange center. I was trying to make sure that the branches are all going out. I figured if it's a tree, it's going to want to fan out and get as much sunlight as possible. So that was sort of the goal here. And I'm using mixel ball joints because you're about to talk with Ben. Ben recommended using ball joints, so it's got mixel ball joints all around it. I need these in brown. I only had them in dark gray. There's some mushrooms, again, to keep it on track with the Enchanted Forest. And then my secret contribution to the Bionicle community is that this is a secret Bionicle face built into the rock. There's a bit of a ridge for the forehead, and then there's the eyes. It was a lot of fun. I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm excited to go from here. We also got butterflies from the Lego store nearby, from I think Sugarloaf Lego store. The staff there was super cool. So thank you for having us. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I love how much thought you've put into this build here, and just kind of the lore into the Enchanted Forest, even the hidden Bionicle face there is great. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
right.
I think that brings us to our final section here then.
Hi, I am Ben the Brick Builder, and I designed the Hollow Home. It's this cute little cozy cottage built in a hollowed out tree stump. I just had a lot of fun with it. I had nothing before Thursday, so I was like, something quick. I used a lot of really weird techniques where things are barely attached. Trees are probably my favorite. They're super simple, but I think they came out really well. And they are having a tea party in there. It's absolutely adorable. They got nachos too.
What are some of the elements you used in kind of that tree house, the base there, to create the walls?
So actually, there's a lot of like the CCBS pieces from the Chewbacca, and Joey's got a lot of those in his dragon as well. So it's kind of like world building, like that's a style of tree in this universe. A lot of like log bricks and cylinders and like the dino tails, just all of the weird brown pieces that I could find.
And then it's kind of a double layer there with the tan bricks on the inside as well. So structurally, what's kind of keeping all that together?
Friction, gravity, hopes.
Sometimes that works as well. Now, did you build a little sign section here as well? Okay.
So the sign itself is actually one of like the Legoland bricks, like the promo bricks. I think it's from California. And I just built the sign around it. The posters are custom. I love these clips for the trees. They just work really well.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for your contribution here. Great work to you and everyone else who contributed to this. I think it's just super fun, whimsical, very colorful. So I think it's really neat to see these types of builds on display and just show how creative you can be with Lego. So thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
Yeah,